Now from the News Nation, whistles, stares, and come-ons. They can turn a walk down the street into a frightening experience for women. It's even got a young rapper fed up with how women, including his own mom, are treated.
Stop looking at my moms.
And now a new push to make street harassment against the law. What does your gut tell you?
That's my mother. That's my mother. She fit pretty sick and she like no other.
So the stories are horrifying. A college student in Iowa says she was so frightened when a man grabbed her hand and kissed it that she actually ran into traffic to get away from the guy. And now there's a new effort underway in New York to stop that behavior, that harassment. Emily May is an executive director of Holler Back, which is launching a new iPhone app today aimed at stopping street harassment. Emily, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.
All right, let's start off with the argument. A lot of people say, what's the big deal? A guy sees a pretty lady, he says woohoo or whatever. How is this harassment?
This is harassment because it's not a compliment, right? It's not just something that we experience and we walk on and go on with our days. This is truly a form of violence, and it's very scary for women and for girls around the world.
I get the argument, and I'm happy you're pushing this, but I got to say, why do you believe that people don't take it seriously? I mean, it can, and I have, and other women I've talked to around here, you feel threatened.
You do, and street harassment is a gateway crime. It creates a culture that makes violence against women.
How is it a gateway crime?
Okay, you know what? If you street harass on the street, what do you do in your home? What do you do in the dark alleys? Street harassment creates a culture that makes violence against women okay and perpetuates this idea that it's okay to degrade women in public.
And you think about it, and I know being in the media, we're blamed for so much, but you see movies, for example, where it's kind of seen as a lighthearted thing, or I remember there was a scene in Sex and the City once, and the girls kind of like scoff off at the guy, but it is serious, and as you say, it can escalate to something beyond these words.
It can. And you know what? Street harassment is about having the freedom to walk down the street and feel safe and confident, and that's a freedom that every American should enjoy.
And what do you think of the young rapper, the 14-year-old, who came out with this song because he's sick of people doing it to his mom? And you think about it, you've got kids around their mothers, and these men, in most cases, are the perpetrators of this.
Exactly, and we've got girls on our site as young as 8 years old writing in to report stories of street harassment. So this young man is a role model for young men across the country.
And it is right now against the law in New York, but you're looking for tougher enforcement and also looking at authorities focusing on schools and making sure it doesn't happen around schools.
It is against the law, but it's rarely enforced, and what we're looking at is to develop harassment-free zones around schools, as well as having a citywide public service announcement campaign to let people know once and for all that street harassment is simply not okay.
All right, well, what does your gut tell you? Is it simply, as Emily put it, not okay? Go to newsnation.msnbc.com to vote.